What you are about to hear is highly classified. Pay attention and listen at all times. And most importantly, remember, when you record a week early, there's a possibility of the news being old by the time the show airs, but at least it's still topical. And we have plenty of bacon to share. Just ask Chris's pig. Ladies and gentlemen, you are now entering Zone 4. And welcome back to The Zone. I'm Brant.
I'm Chris.
I'm Jay.
And this is episode 404 of your favorite monthly comic podcast. Welcome back. We're happy to see you again, even though we can't see you because this is audio. But, you know, it's an expression. Get over it, people. But before we get too deep into things for this last podcast of the year, we should mention that we are proud members of the Comics Podcast Network. You can find us on comicspodcasts.com each and every episode, not just Zone 4, but also Airship 27 and any other podcast that we decide to do.
Dark Avenger podcast.
What?
The intellectualness has begun!
Oh, man. So, yeah, last episode of the year. It's crazy, and it's not even Christmas time, and it's not a Christmas episode. First time, I think it's the first time in Zone 4 history we have not done a Christmas episode, actually.
Brent says that now, but in 2 weeks he's going to be like, hey guys, I got this script. Would you mind just doing the script? We won't do an episode, we'll just do the script. It's like, okay.
Yeah, we'll do a little skit. And
and that will be the whole Zone 4. It'll even be titled the Zone 4 Christmas Special.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be a Patreon exclusive.
Ooh,
and what I was just gonna say, what is the Zone 4 episode anymore without Chris promising something from
I
us?
didn't promise it. I said, watch and do it. Get it right. When I make
the episode,
it's different.
The episode is young. The night is young. I give you time, and you'll promise other stuff too. So we'll get to it. Speaking of Patreon,
shave Michael.
Okay.
I don't even know what to say to that. But if you guys want to check out our Patreon, you can head over to patreon.com/Zone4podcast, and you can check out all the wonderful tiers we have for you and join the Bacon Brigade. Bacon! All right. So we should get into the show with some comic book headlines. Comic book headlines. And these are going to be shorter in the future. I'll talk about that a little bit at the end of the show, but just to let you know, we're going to be doing a little bit less of these in the future. And we actually don't have that many this time either. The first one is for you guys, because this is more a you guys story, and that's the only reason I put it in here, really. Power Rangers teams crossover for the first time. Go.
Wow. You see that, Jay? Just go.
Go Power Rangers. Brent hasn't watched Power Rangers in a very long time, so
he was deprived during his childhood. It's okay.
Well, it came out when he was more of an older teenager. Like when
he was deprived as a teenager. He didn't get to enjoy the multicolored Power Ranger Sentai. I don't know.
You're not really selling it that well.
Yeah, exactly.
But what do you think about this?
It's not exactly true either. I watched it with my brother.
Yes, he just grew out of it rapidly.
He grew out of it faster than we did.
His brother grew out of it. Mm-hmm. His brother grew out of it, so he grew out of it.
Yep.
And I grew into it and then out of it and didn't care after. Anyway, I think it's a good thing. I think it's going to be fun because, I don't know, I feel like with the Power Rangers, Mega Force didn't exactly, or Super Mega Force did not do justice to what the Sentai Gokaiger did with the gigantic 25-year crossover with all of the Sentais from season 1 all the way through to, I believe it was they were celebrating 25 years, so it was 24 previous Sentai up to that point. And I feel like
I think they were 30. I think they were 30 because we were 20 and we're normally 10 behind them. So
okay, so 30 still. That's 30 teams, and they all were. If they wasn't
40. No, I'm sorry. It was 35 because we're 15 years behind them. That's right. 15
okay, so
years.
it was 35. I know it was a 5 or a 0. So it's one.
Yeah, it was 35.
Okay, but they did it right, and when Super Mega Force translated it over, it did not go as well. So I feel like this comic event can kind of be what we wanted Super Mega Force to be, but it wasn't. And we get our favorite Power Ranger team to be leading this gigantic crossover, which I think will be awesome.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, this is for the Boom comic. It's going to be a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger primarily because it's been building up to the 25th issue, which is also in time for the 25th anniversary next year.
Ironically,
this is upcoming season. It will also transfer over to the Saban's Go-Go Power Rangers comic book too for an issue. I think it's issue number 9 or something like that. Would be focusing on in that, and it's called Shattered Grid. It has the Lord Draken, which is the white green ranger, evil version of Tommy from another universe, attacking multiverse of Power Rangers, and they had to unite together. And I agree with Chris about this making up for what Super Mega Force really dropped the ball with, because they built up Legacy War for 2 years for us, actually 3, because they built it up before Mega Force, and then they built it up all year during Mega Force and all year after during Super Mega Force. So we had like 3 years of build up for it, and we got a lackluster episode. Well, 2 lackluster episodes, but this is going to be a little bit different because unlike the previous Legacy War, we're not getting the Sentai Rangers. So it's as people know, there were Power Rangers before Mighty Morphin, before Zoo Ranger, their first translation of Sentai into Power Rangers, and we're not getting any of them. We're not getting any of the ones that we didn't see on screen. So the only one for Die Ranger is going to be the White Ranger costume. It's the only one we're going to see. But it does give us all the other costumes, like the evil version of the ZP Ranger type things, the Power Ranger clone hoodies where they got like the black clothes and black boots, but everything else is just Power Rangers. So it looks interesting, and I'm hoping it comes out way better than the episode did. I'm really looking forward to it. And I want to know what they meant about crossing dimensions and all that. So it's got me pumped up for this. But Power Rangers has been really Mighty Morphin Power Ranger comic book. If you haven't been reading it by Kyle Higgins, is really good. Like, really, really good. Especially with the Lord Draken stuff. That's some really good stuff. So if you're a Power Ranger fan, check out that book by Boom Studios.
Hey, it's good when Power Ranger fans are going nuts to cosplay that costume,
Oh, yeah. Well, it's also it's the first original costume that they've had since probably Power Rangers Jungle Fury was the last original Power Ranger costume, because we had the we had the spirit what were they called, the Spirit Rangers? Yeah. We had those, and those were the last American-made Rangers. So this is something that was new and refreshing. And come on, who doesn't like Tommy? There's a big debate: Tommy White Ranger, Tommy Green Ranger. Which the best Tommy Ranger?
And this one is an amalgamation of both.
Yeah, it's both. I like some of the cosplayers where they have like the Dragon Dagger and Saba united, like they put them together in one. Massive weapon. That's awesome, but that's a digression. So yeah, that's all my thoughts on the book.
It was like you guys were talking Greek to me for a minute there. But
you were like, again.
Hey Brad, if you ever want to get into a deep conversation about Superman, I mean, we can get very Greek very quickly.
I think Brent would have a little bit more time. He'll be easier to translate that than it would be Power Rangers.
It's true. It is true. Yeah, he would catch on with all of the stuff for Superman. You have to be a Sentai fan, Brant.
Well, Power Rangers is a lot different than Sentai for the most part.
It is.
So you have to be a Power Ranger fan.
Yeah, I don't know.
Either one. It's just not gonna happen.
It's fine. It's understandable.
Sentai would literally be a different language for him.
Exactly. Yeah. And the last Sentai I watched was actually I can't pronounce it. Kyoryuger, the one that they literally just translated in American, the Dino Charge.
Yeah.
That was the last one I watched.
Conceptually, I think Power Rangers is a cool idea. It just it's so cheesy. So cheesy.
Yeah.
Well, I think they reverted.
That's why.
Yeah.
Well, no, Sentai have really. If you look at Turbo Ranger, which was our Turbo Ranger, was their Car Ranger. Their Car Ranger was a lot sillier than ours.
I never saw that.
They have some. They have some that are a lot sillier than ours. They have, and we have better ones than them. Even our space was better than your.
That is true.
I forget what their space was called,
yeah.
Mega Ranger.
Yeah, the Tokyo.
Mega Ranger.
They skipped Tokyo. They skipped the train one. If you notice that, they did skip Tokyo.
They've been skipping a lot of them because they do 2 seasons of the show now for Nick because they want to make use of all that footage. So they only get 20 episodes a season now instead of the back in the day was 30 to 50 something episodes.
Right.
Mighty Morphin had like 65 episodes for season 1 or something like that. But anyway, yeah. So they translate a little bit different from the two, but I would say for Power Rangers up until base was building up to being more mature than Space on through the Disney, which is very weird to say the Disney's was really well done and more mature than the Neo Saban. Then the Neo Saban era that we're in now, they really went back to it's like they reverted back to Mighty Morphin season 1 for a lot of it. Dino Charge though was pretty well done, I would say, and then Ninja Steel has been pretty good so far too.
Did you say Train?
Yeah,
it was a train one.
Tokuger, their henshin device, which I actually got because it was that was when I started watching on time. It's literally a train, and it's the wrist one like the Zeo Rangers, and you put the train in the morpher, and you pull down the train. When a train comes and they're the bars that come down that stop cars. You literally put the bars down, and that's when the thing morphs. When the Rangers morph.
Wow.
Yeah, and you could take another Ranger. If you're the Blue Ranger, you can take the Red Ranger's train and put it in yours, and you become the Red Ranger.
But you keep
you'll still have your number. You'll still have your number on you, but you change your uniform color. And it would have been the first time we would have had a male Pink Ranger because the Red Ranger does take off the Pink Rangers and put it in his. So he would have been the first male Pink Ranger costume.
Well, he was hefty on the pink. He liked the pink. He was really pink a lot in that series.
I mean, it was a pretty cool series. We just haven't got it. And we don't know what the 2019 season would be. We know that this one's going to be Super Ninja Steel, Super Ninja Steel. So we know that.
Of course.
Interesting. I will say...
Brent, we didn't even give you Kamen Rider. Don't even get us started about Kamen Rider.
Let's not go to Mask Rider, as I know.
Mask Rider.
Anyway, let's not go there. Anyway, I will say I'll take my hat off to them. They've stayed around this long and they're still going, so they must be doing something right.
And they have their own con. They have their own con every other year. Power Morphicon.
That's true. So. All right, so moving on to something I actually do know a little bit about.
And we can pick up the audience now because they're all bored.
Right. I'm sure there's some, maybe one or two. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so DC they've unveiled new banners for their covers. That are gonna, this is following the Rebirth branding, so it's basically the new branding, and it's DC Universe. So we're coming out of Rebirth and we're going into DC Universe, so it's back to the DCU, kind of, and that's a logical progression.
I agree.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the actual banners?
I like the banners. I think they're nice and simple little number box banners. They're not something that's going to take up too much of the space on the book. I think a lot of people don't like the over-the-top banners, like with New 52 and especially Rebirth. That took up a good chunk of the art space. Yeah. So this keeps it nice and clean, I think. It's nice and clean. The only problem I have with it is the coloring on some of them, because Green Lanterns is like blue.
Yeah.
Like why? Like why not just go with green? Like it makes no sense not to go green. He's Green Lantern, Green Lantern, Green Arrow should get green. And then like go with the colors of the book. Like I think Batman's red, but Superman's black.
It makes no sense.
Like they should.
Well, you think maybe the color? Better. You think maybe the colors will vary book to book? Maybe.
I think they're doing it because like on the green one, the cover is like predominantly green.
Yeah,
and they probably wanted to stand out.
Yeah, they probably wanted to stand out a little bit, but still go something that goes with green.
Yeah, why not go with like a lighter shade of green or something? Yeah, like you said, it's complementary. You see a lot of yellow used on Green Lantern covers. Why not go that route or something?
Yeah, something that would make it fit in more, not blue. Like especially because again, talk about color schemes. Where they have a Blue Lantern cover,
right.
I mean, we're living in the rainbow prism of the lanterns, so it could be anything. Like it would be hard to put in a color. So I don't know why they just can't go with it like a basic color that fits the color schemes of these books. Because again, Superman is black, but Batman is like red or something. Like it makes no sense with the color schemes. But other than that, I think it's a great idea. It's a great choice, and it brings back classic feels to people. And call it DC Universe again. It's really nice. We won't have to keep saying DC Rebirth, or New 52. We would just say DC Universe again. So it's good for me.
Yeah, I completely agree. Go ahead, Chris.
I personally was one of the people that wasn't too much of a fan of the Rebirth at the top of the books. I would have been happy if they would have done it the first couple of months and then just let it go. But it's like Jay said, I like the classic look, first of all. I think it'll take up less of the artwork space. And it has that classical feel. It shows that, we've gone through Rebirth. We've finished it. Now we're getting into DC Universe again. And now I'm sure after we get through this Dr. Manhattan / Watchmen crossover, which is going to be the reason for the New 52 that led to Rebirth, that's leading to this, the banner will change again. Maybe not. I mean, people.
I don't think so. I think we're done with it.
Yeah, I think so.
I think they're just like, this is because I don't think they're going to do because what you're proposing is something more like Marvel has done, where it's every year it changes.
Right, and that's not good.
I think DC's like, look, we did the New 52 experiment. We gave you the honeymoon period with the DC Rebirth. This is
and now we're back to the regular. Right, now we're back.
This is the transition phase between New 52 and what we're going to be doing from now on,
which is DC Universe.
We're back to business. This is our basic stuff. This is our universe.
No,
so Rebirth was. I'm sorry, I was just going to say Rebirth was the segue. Go, Brent.
Yeah. What I could see them doing is like scaling it down a little bit, remove the character logos like the Batman symbol.
Oh yeah, I definitely think they could tweak it. Maybe even drop the universe thing and just have the DC symbol. Like I could see tweaking, but I don't think it's going to be like a brand change.
Right? No, I didn't think so either. That's what I kind of meant. Was they'll take the symbols off, or they'll take universe off, and it'll just be DC.
Yeah, I could see them just altering it. Cosmetically. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So no. Good change. We're happy with that one.
Oh yes.
All right. This article that I linked you guys to for this one is a little outdated now because there's been new developments in this.
There's been a lot of development.
Sorry. No, I was saying today we came out a big story on it.
Yeah. So basically, what we're kind of alluding to is the whole deal with Disney buying up Fox or 20th Century Fox, and like we said, a lot of stuff is developed. We're looking for an official confirmed announcement coming next week, possibly. If anybody's been following this, basically, it's been going on and off for weeks now, maybe months even.
Wait, I thought it was confirmed. I saw an article that said X-Men, Deadpool, and something else were
CNBC has officially. They've said it's officially confirmed, but the announcement, which is Brent was talking about, it's not been made by Disney nor Fox. Have made an official announcement.
Okay.
They've declined to comment so far. So we even though it's basically official, we still have to wait for them to actually state it. Yeah.
They just want to
now
dot
I
the I's
understand.
and cross the T's.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And destroy Deadpool, which is like the only good movie coming out of Fox. Okay.
Well, Deadpool's done. It's like they can't
Yeah,
do
it's already
anything with
done.
it. It's in
true.
the bag.
It's
And
true.
anything that's already produced, they can't touch. This,
I meant
this is for
Deadpool
future.
3. I meant Deadpool 3,
Well-
but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, don't even know how
Maybe.
Deadpool 2 is going to do.
This is true.
Exactly.
That's true. It could tank horribly. It's true.
yeah.
I mean,
so-
I'm hoping it doesn't. I don't think it will, but
Right. So basically, they now I don't know all the particulars. I didn't get a chance to read the latest articles and everything. Maybe Jay, you do, but I do know that aren't they getting Fox's stake in Hulu?
yeah, they'll be getting basically everything but the new stuff. So
Right.
it's basically anything that Fox owns entertainment wise, they'll get. New stuff and sports stuff, Fox will retain. So movies,
So
TV,
Fox is
stuff like
going to
that.
be sports.
It's basically going to be sports and news, yeah. So you're going to get your politics and your sports from Fox, and everything else Disney's taking over. So all the TV shows, all the their stakes in television and movies will be gone. All they will have is sports stuff and news.
Are they gonna keep the name like they obviously they didn't change Marvel's name or Star Wars and all that stuff? Are they gonna keep the name or are they gonna totally rebrand?
They haven't said it, but I would assume it would just be they will keep the 20th Century Fox name because it's a name, it does
Right.
carry a name, and they didn't take like Pixar still has its own stuff, and it will just be underneath the umbrella of Disney, so it'll probably be like a Disney 20th Century Fox, or
Right.
they'll do
There'll be a
one of
little
those.
Disney nod somewhere in the
They'll do one of
intro.
those little Disney, like you'll see the Disney probably whole shooting star castle thing, and then you'll see the fanfare for the 20th Century Fox.
Right.
It's what's interesting is that if it continues, once they own it, it's going to be interesting that there will be a DC program on a Disney-owned channel.
That's
Gotham.
true.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting. But I think you said in our private conversations that this basically gives them it's like a controlling interest in Hulu, isn't it?
Yeah, 60%.
Yeah.
Because right
That's
now
crazy.
Disney owns 30 and Fox owns 30% of Hulu. So they have 60% of Hulu. I think the other one is Comcast, I think, owns
Comcast.
a large part of it, and then there's one other person, I think, or a couple little ones that own some of it. But I think Comcast and Disney and Fox were the major investors, or however you want to say it, controlling interests of it. And now Disney's basically going to have control of Hulu.
Yeah, pretty much.
Disney's getting control of everything except Warner Brothers right now.
You're evil.
Oh yeah.
But you could almost look back in like recent months and see the strategic moves as far as Hulu goes, because like all the ABC stuff has been popping up on their TGIF and different things and all their classic stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
kind of
I wouldn't be
interesting. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we hear talks next year or soon that they're trying to buy out Hulu from the rest of the investors too.
And make
Oh,
that
yeah.
the Disney. They'll make that their Disney app.
That's probably. That's probably that's why they haven't announced anything. That's probably what they're hoping to do.
Which would be good because a lot of us have Hulu, so basically we'll be getting the Disney app for basically what we've been getting already.
Here's where the
Plus you're
problem
getting-
comes in. Go ahead, Jay.
No, I was going to say, plus you're getting the existing subscribers, but how many of them are going to stick around?
Exactly.
That's true.
That's a problem. And the other problem is if Disney owns it, how many networks are going to pull their stuff from it?
Yeah, exactly. Like, because a lot of people are going to drop it because because originally the Disney, if they make this their Disney service, the Disney service proposed was going to be Disney exclusive stuff, so it will be only their stuff. And then we'll talk about more about that later. But yeah, they were going to take all their stuff, so you'll get like all the TGIF stuff, all the Disney Channel original movies, basically everything you can get now online. They're going to give you them and more because Disney has the Disney Now app that you can have. It's like all your Disney channels in the one app. And they're going to give you all that stuff and more. So if this, and it'll have all their Pixar stuff too. So if this becomes that. I don't know if a lot of those subscribers are going to be sticking around because they're going to be like, hey, I signed up for Hulu because I want to see my shows from X station and B station. You know, I don't want to see just Disney stuff. You know,
Of course.
If I wanted that, I would. You know, I would have signed up for another program. You know, but I think a large part of Hulu's service is people wanted the variety of stuff and the Hulu originals too. Because like they had the Mindy Project, which is doing really well on there. You had the Handmaid's Tale, which is very not Disney, and then you know you have a lot of other original stuff that they've been doing.
Right. Yeah, like the James Franco 11/22/63. Yeah. That was really good. The Path, I think, is doing pretty well.
Now y'all are talking Greek to me.
Yeah, I know, but. Yeah, I mean, obviously, even if this does happen, all these changes wouldn't be overnight. So anybody out there listening, this is all, conjecture at this point. Yeah. We don't know exactly.
Especially about the Hulu stuff. It's all theoretical for us.
Right.
Brent, can I bring something up real quick? Because I think Jay would articulate this better than I could. And I think you know where I'm going with this because I talked to you about it a little bit today, if you know what I mean. But all right, Jay, as a person who's been in comics long, and Brad, you've been in comics long, I would consider myself, I'm about maybe 10 years to your guys' years in collecting. Now, a lot of people are saying, with all the stuff that's going on with Marvel and DC, with Disney buying, owning a lot, Marvel is obviously getting a lot more into movies, animated stuff, and DC's getting more into that in the movies and the toys and whatnot, that slowly but surely the comic lines are going to fade out and eventually close down to either strictly digital or completely altogether, and it's literally just going to be Marvel movies, Marvel animated, Disney movies, Disney animated, figures, toys, yada yada.
No, this is just milking the machine. That's it.
Yeah, right now, from what people are saying, that they're poor. Their companies, as far as the comic lines, are dirt poor.
I wouldn't say that they're poor. It's a thing that happens right now. Comic books being a comic book geek is acceptable now. People like it. It's become more of the norm with all the Marvel Studios books and stuff. The problem with Marvel is they're not retaining their older fan base, and DC just started to get theirs back. DC went through that same exact phase for a couple of years. They lost a lot of their main fan base because they changed the formula, and now that they're going back to that formula, you've seen a dramatic increase in DC sales. They went from being very low, the lowest that they've been in, I think, my lifetime. I've never seen DC dip that low. And then they jumped back up to, surpassing Marvel. And Marvel is dipping, and that's because they don't learn from their history. Right. But I think once they start to get back on track, and because people, they naturally do. If you ask any comic shop, they will say this. After coming out of a movie, a lot of people do go to comic shops and they look at books that are, based on these characters. Marvel's problem with their sales is that their books didn't reflect their movies.
Right, and the movies are the classic stuff.
You have Odin's son at a store, and then you have Jane in the comics, and you're like, well, that's not the dude I want to read about, So they don't pick up the book. And, there's back issues, but people want what's now. Like, everybody wants what's now. Back issues are more for people who want to fill in their collection and all that. People today, everybody wants what's new, what's current. Look at the iPhone is a perfect instance, Every time an iPhone comes out, everybody wants the new one, You don't want iPhone 4, you want iPhone 10, It's just the natural progression of the society. So that's where Marvel is going, and I think they're seeing that, and they're trying to make it a little bit. And also what you're alluding to is the animation stuff that was announced today. And I don't know, Brent, it's okay. Is it okay we talk about this, Brent?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I think what they're doing is they got a lot of flack for the diversity in books, like changing everybody to a different, character. Right. Like switching up who was who. So I think they're doing this so this way they still maintain those diverse characters and the younger next generation characters, but they make it for a younger audience because it's the older fans that didn't want that. Like the older fans wanted Thor to say Odin's son and not Jane Foster.
That's going to be bad, though, when the younger fans come up and they're like, well, I was watching a cartoon where it was this, and that, and now you got the classic characters. What about mine?
But they're still in the comic books, though. So, like Spider-Gwen, she still has her book,
That's true. That's true.
America Chavez, she still has her book. These are Patriot, who's in Captain America, in the Falcon book right now. So you still have these characters who are in the books, but instead of taking prominent roles in regular series, they're going to be there, and then you can go and you can pick up a Spider-Gwen book. You could pick up an Inhumans book and see Inferno. You can pick up Falcon and see Patriot.
But do you see the comic? Do you see the comics ending? Because a lot of people are predicting this is the end of Marvel comics.
It's the 90s were super bad for comics. Yeah. It went through a time where Marvel was bankrupt. They were hemorrhaging money. They had to sell off properties. That's why we have all this, this is with Fox, this is with Universal, this is with Sony. Because Marvel was selling things just so they can stay afloat. And they still came out of it okay. And now they got Disney bucks, Disney's not going to give away Marvel stuff because they need that to fuel their other projects that they want to do.
Yeah, I was going to say a couple of things real quick. I also think this new animation that Marvel announced is to compete with DC superhero books too.
For sure. Because other than two characters, all of them are female.
Right, exactly. And the other thing I was going to address was, you kind of touched on it, Jay, with the state of comics right now. Yeah, the sales aren't as good as they have been, but everybody has to remember that boom in the 90s was an anomaly. It's never happened. It never happened before that. It hasn't happened since. Eventually, it probably will happen again, but that's business. Things are cyclical. Eventually, there will be another boom, whether it's a spectator boom like that one, or something else happens that heightens the value of these things. But if you look at the state of comics and sales before that boom, they weren't great either. But the comics still survived, and these are franchises that go beyond the comics. They are everywhere. You take your Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, whatever, and they're in so many different kinds of products and for Disney to spend as much money as they did to acquire Marvel, to shut it down 5 years later would be astronomically stupid. And Disney's not stupid.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because my Tommy watches Disney Junior. And every now and again, they'll have a little Spider-Man shtick where it'll start off as the animated Spider-Man, but then they'll do the chibi versions of the superheroes. They'll have a little mission. It'll be Hulk and Spider-Man or Thor and Spider-Man. And then it goes back to the regular cartoon one and he flings off. And then, I hear Tommy saying the Hulk and Spider-Man. So, yeah, Disney's definitely making good with their Marvel, promotions and whatnot.
Yeah, they have a bunch of cartoons out now, and it's geared towards a younger audience, of course. But I mean, even you look, like Brant said about the 90s and all, you look back to even earlier than that. Check out the 50s and all that, when they want to ban comics, like the government wanted to ban comic books, and they survived. Exactly. I mean, this is an industry that survived for almost 100 years now, when everything was going against it, where parents and committees and everyone had their voice saying, shut this down. In a time where people actually listened to people and shut things down, comic books survived. On
top of that, just to add to that, Jay, sorry. Just to add to that, you look at the recent years in comics, the New 52 and all the Marvel Legacy, not Marvel Legacy, but Marvel Now and all that stuff. You had the actual comic fans, the passionate diehards, complaining and leaving, and yet comics still survived.
Exactly.
I mean, again, DC was at its lowest point that I can ever remember in my lifetime. In the last, because when I was growing up, DC and Marvel were always within 1 or 2% of each other. They were always within that. They dipped down to less than more than 10% lower than Marvel, and that was horrible for them. Like, that was the lowest I've ever seen them. But they came back. Like, it all happens back and forth. They're going to lose money. They're going to gain money. They're going to get, there are going to be anomalies like the comic boom in the 90s. And there's going to be very hard depression times that we're going to go through where people are like, is this the end of the comic books? People are going to be, stacking up comic books because they're thinking it's going to end. But it's going to be around. I mean, it survived almost 100 years.
Exactly. And it has more competition now.
Years old.
Yeah, and there's more competition out there now. You've got independents, you got Image, IDW, you've got other companies that are popping up all the time with newer comics and ideas.
Everywhere you go, there's like an indie book popping up somewhere, and you got, what Dan Sane says is the grassroots underground of indie comic books. Where self-publishers like Argo Comics and Last Ember Press, are coming up and they're making it. And then you got other, all the avenues like Kickstarter and crowdfunding. Like, comic books is not going anywhere, and especially with the big two, they're like the mama and the papas of the comic book industry. That's why they're called the big two. They're not going anywhere.
I agree.
These are cultural icons.
Superman,
Batman, Spider-Man.
I should introduce you to a few people, Jay. Then you could.
Oh, I've had this discussion today with people. Because of some of the reviews. I've had some discussions today about this. I mean, these are culture icons. I mean, you go anywhere in the world, people know who Superman is. You go anywhere in the world, people know Batman. They know who Spider-Man is. These are cultural icons that are ingrained into our subconscious. We all know them. I mean, even people who don't understand English or ever seen a comic book, you show them Superman, they'll know what that is.
Right?
It's just something that's been ingrained into our society, and I don't think it's ever going to leave. Because if they stop making them, what are the other platforms are going to use as basis? Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
Yeah, it's a unique art form too. It's the only thing that marries art and writing in that way. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Other than that, it's really just children's books, really children's books like Green Eggs and Ham. And those are basic illustrations, where this is like, sequential art that moves with the story and feels with the beat with the story. It's a very different medium, and I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. I would say that Tommy will be my age and he'll still be going, Chris.
Oh, I mean, the way he looks at my books now, I'm sure that, I think he's going to be next generation coming up for Frontline and everything as well, as far as talking comics.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
And comics is a medium that constantly reinvents itself, too.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, if you would have said, back in the 90s that, there was going to be the rebirth and then Superman's costume would change, people would think you were absolutely insane, except for during the Superman Blue Energy period, which we don't.
I was going to say, if you would have told someone that Superman was going to lose his powers and become, if you would have told someone that Superman was going to die.
Well, that was
right.
The Blue Energy was because of the lawsuit with the Siegel and Schuster family. That was heavily on because they were worried they were going to lose the superpowers.
Yeah. Well, the bottom line is comics
aren't going anywhere.
They're okay. They're okay. All right. Yeah. So, going back to the Disney and Fox thing. I went
way off topic for a moment.
No, it's fine. It's fine. What you kind of teased a little bit earlier, Jay. The people were wondering what happens to the Netflix shows when this Disney digital service starts, because there's talk of them pulling all their programming and putting it on their digital service. And there was actually an article or an interview with somebody, a content chief from Netflix, who said, even though Disney owns Marvel and Marvel has all these IPs, it doesn't mean that Disney owns all Marvel's IPs, and we own Defenders. So the Netflix shows, at least for a while, are not going anywhere.
Their contract.
Yeah. So don't worry about that. They're still going to be on Netflix, and all is well. Defenders.
Here's something to put out there too. You think the Netflix stuff may become the new Fox stuff, where they're like, all right, you don't want to give us back our stuff, so we're not going to publish any of those comic books anymore.
Well, I don't think the Punisher. I don't think Marvel's worried with the Punisher. That's for sure.
I was just saying, like, there's really nothing there that is. I think even if they did that, it's like nothing there is going to really be like, oh no, they stopped publishing Luke Cage.
Right.
Like, no one's going to be like heartbroken that Luke Cage isn't coming out this month, or Iron Fist is coming out.
Daredevil would be the only one, I think.
Yeah, Daredevil I think would be Daredevil would be the only one that could hit because it was the highest numbering.
Yeah, and with Bendis leaving to go to DC, it's like, well, they probably don't want to see anybody else write her anyway. So
exactly, they just want to let it go. My question is, and this is for Iron Fist, Jay, how are you finding the comic? Because me personally, I'm starting to lose interest. I know you hated the one before this that Michael liked.
I'm liking it. It's pretty good. It's not exactly what I want, but it's better than what we've gotten before.
Mm-hmm.
True.
I agree.
I was just curious what your thoughts were on this volume.
All right. That concludes comic book headlines, and it's time for some Facebook shout-outs.
Shout it, shout it, shout it out loud. Shout it, shout it, shout it out loud.
And Jay, you have the honor this week.
I'm ready. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, in this corner, we shout out Jesus Marquez. Jesus is a wrestling fan. He is also lucky, like me, to be born in December and just 2 days after my birthday on the 23rd. He has been married to his wife, Jennifer, for 8 years, and their dog, Pukitin, I hope I said it right, has its own Facebook page.
Seriously?
Yeah,
I didn't know this.
Pukitin has his own
Instagram
Facebook
has
page.
a lot of that. Don't even question.
Oh, yeah, I know. Oh, I know. Pukitin has its own Facebook page where it features some great, funny dog pics.
I love dog pictures. They're the best.
Well, you'll like the Pukitin ones then.
What breed?
It's one of those little dogs. I don't know the little dog breeds that well. Brad will probably look at it and be like, "Oh, that's this dog." I don't know them. I'm sorry, Pukitin. I don't know what breed you are.
I don't know what you are. I just know you're a dog.
And in the next corner, we shout out Michael K. Wheeler from Maysville, Kentucky, but currently residing in Aberdeen, Ohio, with his wife, Laura. Michael counts himself as a professional wrestler at Independent Wrestling.
Ooh, wow. I didn't even know that.
But when he's not in the ring, he's also a writer and an artist doing stuff for Unforgiving Comics, which features characters like Night and Sunset. Michael is also very popular. He has already reached his limit on Facebook friends, so way to go there.
I totally did not pick purposely 2 wrestling fans.
It was fun because I got to use my wrestling announcer voice.
That's awesome.
And then we have someone I do know as Marissa Hall, who is a real Georgia peach from Linkage, Georgia. She attended both Bloomfield and Gilmore high schools, and she's a woman of faith who has also a big love for music, and she also loves TV and movies. How do I know this? Because she is also a big supporter of Media Madness, my other podcast, where she is frequently in the live chat. So thank you, Marissa, for all the love and support. It is greatly appreciated.
That's kind of awesome. We had a Georgian and a Kentuckian, so my home state and my hometown.
Yes.
Now you just need something from New York. Come on, where's some New York?
You get plenty of love, man. Come on. There's a lot of New Yorkers.
Love. There's too many New Yorkers out there. That's the problem.
So if you'd love to get and I said love, not like, if you would love to get an enthusiastic shout out like that, you can head over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Zone4Podcast, hit the like button, and we'll get Jay to come back and do that announcer voice for you too. Oh man. All right, so it is topic time.
Topic time. It's topic time.
All right, so staying in that vein of Marvel and their various franchises, we thought it would be fun to discuss what's going to happen to these Marvel Studio films when all their actors' contracts are up. Because after this 4th film, a lot of them are. Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, Chris Hemsworth, all their contracts are up. They contracted for a certain amount of movies, and we are hitting that threshold finally. So what happens? Where do we go from here?
Well, I think Robert Downey Jr. is going to leave because he actually did mention that Avengers 4 would probably be his swan song. Mm-hmm. So they probably would have to get a new Tony Stark because we're not getting a new Iron Man movie anyway. So a new Iron Man movie, I think, would be to introduce the new Tony Stark, if anything. I believe Chris Hemsworth will stick around a little bit longer. Same with Scarlett Johansson. I don't know. With Hulk, I feel like you don't really have to worry because he's 90% CG anyway.
Plus, he's really not. We've already went through our third Hulk. Second from Marvel.
Exactly, and the worst being Eric Bana. So I mean, we went through Eric Bana pretty quickly. So I mean, that's not a big deal. I don't know. Guardians, I feel like they should stay under there for a while. Hopefully. Yeah,
this is mainly that original Avengers cast. You have Chris Evans for Cap.
Phase 1.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, I don't think they're going to introduce a new Tony Stark. I think this is where you upgrade your B players to the main stage, or you introduce somebody taking over.
But even those actors though could they're nearing their end too. Because Falcon's been in a couple movies already, and so has War Machine, and he's been 2 actors also.
Yeah, but like if they were going to do Bucky Cap, they were going to have Winter Soldier take over his Cap, that would upgrade his status from secondary
to lead character,
and that would probably renew a contract right there. That he could get a contract for that.
Yeah, but then what happens to Chris Hemsworth after Bucky Cap is done? Do they hire a new person to be Cap? Or does Chris Hemsworth say? Same thing with the thing with Robert Downey Jr.
You need Chris Evans. Chris
Evans, Hemsworth.
Yeah, keep your Chris's right, Chris.
Chris's, and I'm a Chris, but I'm not in the Marvel movie.
Crisis of Infinite Chris's.
You can say that again. That is a crisis. Oh boy. But no, with Robert Downey Jr., the problem with him is he wants to leave. So I feel like if they do want to try to fight to keep him, he's going to want an astronomical amount of money. I mean, he already wanted a lot.
Wants to leave. I don't think he wants to leave. I think Robert Downey Jr. knows where the milk is good, and he's getting some good milk right now.
You don't think he'll want more money? You don't think he'll? Obviously, he's going to want more money.
He's going to get a little bit more money, but again, he's not really doing as much in these other movies that he's been doing. He makes an appearance here and there, and it's not as much as it was when he was making his own Iron Man movies. But he also gets fringe benefits where he gets to pick out movies that he wants to do from their slate, and with them acquiring the Fox stuff, he can do more movies like they're coming in through the 20th Century Fox stuff. He has more. He will have I want to produce a movie. Oh, I want to star in any 5 films. I get to pick 5 films I want to star in, whatever. They'll do whatever it is if he wants to. And I think the same thing would be with all of them. Chris Evans, I think, would want to stay around if they.
He did say he wanted to. He did mention
he enjoys being Captain America. He does. So. I think it would be more that they would take a back seat to things, and then they'll explore other areas of the Marvel Universe, especially with this deal with Fox. They can explore the X-Men. They can explore Fantastic Four. So I think they're going to have a lot more corners to play in than they have right now.
I think the fans won't mind the X-Men change of cast. I think the one person that's going to be hard to recast is going to be Wolverine because Hugh Jackman had that role.
Hugh Jackman did say he will come back for. He said he will come back if Marvel ever gets the rights to X-Men. He said he will come back for that if they want him back. That was his one thing. He did say that when he retired. He said if Disney ever gets back the rights to X-Men, I will consider it. I will come back for an Avengers type movie or something with the X-Men if they want me. He's like, I'll definitely do that.
That would be interesting. That's the one actor that I wouldn't mind carrying over.
That and Sir Patrick Stewart. because he is
Yeah,
just
oh,
Patrick
yeah.
Stewart
He
is
totally
getting a
is,
bit
yeah.
older, but no, I would definitely love to see him as he
I know,
was
it's
definitely
hard to see him
Xavier.
getting older, but
It sucks seeing him get older, especially growing up
it's just
watching him on
weird
Star
because
Trek.
he always looked a lot older.
I know,
Yeah, right?
but now he's really getting old.
I know. I'm just saying, he just always looked older. I think it was because of him being gray and bald at the same time. Like he would.
Mhm. Yeah.
It was like that combination was like, okay, you're very old, but he wasn't very old.
Right.
It was also the combination of me being very young. So,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
25 was very old to me. So, you know, like when you're a kid, 25 is
You
like
wouldn't
eight.
want to see Magneto move over also?
No,
Magneto, I don't really care. Magneto's Magneto. I mean,
Mm.
I mean, Ian McKellen did a great job, but I wouldn't mind if they had another actor come in. And
Gotcha.
I forget who was the other one. Who was the other one who did it?
I didn't
Michael
like the other
Fassbender.
one. Yeah, I didn't like him.
I liked him actually.
Yeah, I don't care if he did it either. Like, when I see Professor Xavier, and I've always seen Patrick Stewart as Professor Xavier.
That is
Like,
true.
ever since I saw Patrick Stewart, I was like, that's Professor X. Like, as soon as I saw him on Star Trek Next Generation, I was like, that's Professor X.
But what about
If they ever make an
Storm?
X-Men movie, he has to be it.
Storm. Are you kidding me?
Don't,
Yes,
just
I'm kidding
don't
you.
give her any
Oh
dumb
my
luck.
God, Halle Berry? Yes, I'm kidding you.
Just don't
You could
give any
cast
like.
Storm. No, you can cast Storm so much better. Come on. Halle Berry.
Well,
was
they
the
did
name.
recast her.
Yeah,
they
they
did
did
recast
recast
her.
There you go. So see, you can recast her easy.
But it's a younger. I just want them. If they do X-Men, I want them to do it right and start from the very beginning with the
Yes.
core five.
Yes.
Right.
You know, if they can
Yeah.
add in Wolverine into that core five, like making him the sixth person or whatever, or you're gonna take a X-Men Evolution approach to it.
That would be
okay.
cool. That would because Wolverine doesn't get old. He never gets old. He stays the same age mostly.
Or what they could do is instead of starting at the very beginning with them, they could start at giant size where they go
adults,
missing.
yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
I just want those because nothing in their history, from TV to animation to movies, has ever had the team start off with the core five.
Yeah.
None of them had the core five in the original team. Like even X-Men Evolution, Bobby wasn't in the original five.
Mhm. Right.
In the 90s, they started off with the 90s comics cast.
Mhm.
They always started off like at different points in it. So I would love to see an original. Even First Class was not the First Class. They mixed in different characters. So like I would love to see just the original X-Men be in a movie for the first time. Like have those 5 characters: Jean, Scott, Beast, Angel, and Iceman in a movie together in one origin movie. And then like I said, you could throw in Wolverine into that first movie too, because he's a cash cow and they're going to use him. So you want to throw him in, I'm fine with that, as long as you get those 5 there. I want them to be the original X-Men.
And obviously
that
fighting
found it.
Magneto, you're gonna have to do that.
Or you could even do, if they didn't want to do that, you could even have them start off with another team of X-Men and that team be X-Factor.
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything that shows like them, like even you said the giant size X-Men, like they can start off with them being the original 5 are off, and they're captured, and the giant size team has to come in and save them. I would be okay with that as long as they acknowledge that these are the original 5 X-Men.
Exactly.
Right.
That's
and
what
not
I
have them all
want.
across the age spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just what I want as a fan of that group. I want that group to be represented for the first time ever, because they've never been represented like that.
And we need a good actress to be casted as Jean. I feel like we still have not hit the nail on the head at all. I do not like this new actress that's playing Jean. I've seen pictures of her. I've seen costumes. I don't like her. I prefer the first Jean over this one. I don't know her name. I'm sorry.
Oh, I know she's from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I can't think of her name.
Right.
I can't
It
think of
doesn't
her name
matter. I
either.
prefer her over this other one. I don't like this newer Jean. For
Oh, no,
some
you're-
reason, she rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care about. I mean, I just want them to cast good actors, of course. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they would do with it when they do it. Like I said, this is all theoretical, people. But I would love to see. I think that's what their next phase would be after they get past Avengers 4, because they said they have a lot of more corners to explore in their universe. So I think we are going to see stuff like a new Fantastic Four movie finally done by
God.
which again, but that would be very risky too for Marvel, because if they can't do a good if they can't do a good Fantastic Four movie, if it bombs or it doesn't get good reviews, Marvel would be like really hard, because a lot of fans are like, "Oh, Fantastic Four sucks because Fox does it." Marvel did it will be so great. Now, Marvel doesn't do that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, but at least we get the comics back now. I mean, we lost the Fantastic Four because of the terrible job Fox was doing.
That is true. No matter what they say, that is true.
Oh yeah,
that's absolutely true.
It was definitely. It was even the reason why they lessened the impact of the X-Men too. Like they even had a mandate. Someone said that there was a creative. One of the writers said there was a creative mandate for the X books. No new mutants were allowed to be created. You were not allowed to create any new mutants. So you want to create a character, it could be anything but a mutant. It cannot be a mutant. You can have a human, a metahuman, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, that's why they wanted to pull up the Inhumans, and the Inhumans failed. Very hard.
Unfortunately. Yeah. Sophie Turner is her name, and she's engaged to Joe Jonas. Jean Grey. Yeah.
That's the current Jean Grey.
That's the new current
Jean Grey.
The other one is Fam something.
Famke Janssen or
yeah. I like the first one. I don't like this new one who's getting married to a Jonas brother.
So we know we have 2 more Avengers movies. We got Infinity War coming up. We got Avengers 4 in 2019.
Right.
Where do they go from there?
Which is supposed to be called like the Infinity Gauntlet or something.
Yeah.
Because I think it was again, I think it was what's her name? Black Widow. What's her name?
Oh, Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson. I couldn't think of her name. It just like blew out my mind. I think she's the one who named it. She let the name slip in one of her social media posts. She was like, "The Infinity Crusade. We're filming that now," and that's when people were like, "Oh, the number 4 is called Infinity Crusade,"
Right.
Oh no, Infinity Gauntlet. I'm sorry, Infinity Gauntlet.
I have a theory, but I don't know if it'll happen or not, because all right, we all know what happened during Infinity Gauntlet the first time. My thought process is, they keep alluding to the Skrulls, the secret invasion being possible next step.
I sure hope so.
I do too. But no, I think that they might try for an amalgamation of 2 things: the Skrull invasion and a Dark Reign. Think about what happened during Infinity Gauntlet. Spider-Man, now, this would be something really cool if they figured out a way to pull this off the right way. But you got the black suit, which could be introduced the Marvel way from Infinity Gauntlet. So you might actually have a really good opening for a second.
That was the Secret Wars. 1. The first Secret Wars.
Yeah, but you have a chance to introduce it. I'm saying you have a chance to introduce it in the Infinity Gauntlet instead, because they're in space. And
then that would negate what Sony's doing with the Venom movies, and the official. This is a little bit mind numbing, but the official state of the Sony / Marvel stuff is Spider-Man exists within the Sony Marvel universe, but the Sony Marvel universe does not exist within the Marvel universe.
It just sucks because you have a good. It doesn't. You have a good opportunity to make the next Spider-Man movie the Black Symbiote.
But they're already doing. Yeah, but they're already doing the Venom movie. So that would negate that. It would negate the whole Venom movie, and they're not going to cut themselves.
It's almost like, how Invincible and Savage Dragon technically can exist in the same universe and sometimes do, but don't really. That's how it is, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just because Sony was like
stupid.
Oh yeah. Sony was like, yeah, Spider-Man exists in our universe. No, they said, yeah, Venoms exist in the Spider-Man universe. And then Kevin Feige was like, no. And he talked to Sony, and then Sony made a public announcement and said, no, Venom does not exist in the Spider-Man universe. So Spider-Man exists in the Venom universe.
So in other words, Tom Holland can show up in the Venomverse, but there's no way that Venom
Or
will
they
show
would
up in
at
Marvel.
least acknowledge Spider-Man in that movie. Like, they would at least acknowledge that Spider-Man exists in that universe that they're creating. That would include Black and Silver and what other movie they're coming out with? I know it's Venom, Black and Silver, and there's like another one too.
Are they still doing a Sinister Six? Or
I think that's in the works too, but there was another movie. It was like another like lower tier Spider-Man.
So in other words, Disney's next target is Sony.
hopefully.
Hopefully it's right.
Well, right now they got a good deal at least. Right now they're like, I think they're like okay with it as long as they don't have to. You know, they could do a Venom thing in the Marvel universe because Venom's not part of it, but I don't see Sony being okay with that.
I mean, if you do the black suit Spider-Man and then have him destroy the suit in the Spider-Man movie, as opposed to it going to Brock, or hinting that it disappeared, but not give a nod to actual Venom, like never use the word Venom, I would think it doesn't breach
that would be a cheap version of Spider-Man. The only way they could get around it would be like if they end it to where Sony could say, okay, this was our Venom movie takes place after that movie, so that's where it fits in the timeline. You know, they could say that, but again, I don't think Sony's gonna be like, yeah, go ahead, do a Venom thing.
It just sucks. You're losing the perfect opportunity to introduce the black suit.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying. I just don't think Venom. I don't think Sony would do it because it's a marketing standpoint.
Yeah, no, of course they won't. Of course, because they want to make money off of this somehow.
I also don't think that's probably not a priority for Marvel either. Is that black suit because of how poorly that movie, that first.
I thought Homecoming was okay. I mean,
not Homecoming. I'm talking about the Spider-Man 3.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Saturday Night Fever Spider-Man.
Yeah, it still leaves a bad taste in people's mouth when you mention black suit on film. It does.
Yeah, it does.
Even when people start talking about Venom movie, they were like, "Oh God, Venom again."
Yeah, exactly. People are sick of him. But it's a fair deal right now. The positive thing is you can have Spider-Man in the Avengers films, which is awesome.
Right.
And now Marvel Studios has their hands in that pot. They have their fingers. They're kind of slowly building their way in, and hopefully eventually they'll be able to just take that franchise back and do it right.
Or, Sony being like, okay, look, we really suck at this. If their Venom movie and their Black and Silver movie does bomb, which a lot of people are thinking is going to, they could be like, look, we'll just continue our deal. We want you to do this movie. We'll change the deal. You have to do this movie for us. You have to do like 3 movies for us or something like that. Like they'll try to sweeten that deal with them to where it would benefit Marvel, but it will also benefit that. They will do something like that. We want 3 movies from you a year or something like that, 2 a year. We want more than just the 1 movie a year. Because right now Sony gets the big portion of the Spider-Man solo movies.
Right. I thought Homecoming was very good. I think we're off to a better start than Amazing. That's for damn sure. So I would be down. I mean, if they announced the next Spider-Man movie, I could tell you I definitely will be watching that. I will definitely watch that.
The reason for that is because of Marvel Studios' involvement.
Right. Oh, no, yeah, of course. That's what I'm saying. I would be down to watch that more than I was down to even give Amazing Spider-Man a chance.
I'm definitely going to look forward to second one. But they really need to tone down the Marvel part of it because the first Spider-Man Homecoming was very much Iron Man heavy. And just needs to tone down that. They need to tone down that, like, yes, we are a part of the Marvel universe now. Like, bring back some of the... And even in the Avengers 3 trailer, the Infinity War trailer, I think they're starting to tone it down some because you see more of the stuff, like you see the spider senses going off and stuff like that. So I think they're getting a feel for him again in their universe.
I think, I agree with you. He needs to have his own independence. That's what he needs, his own independence from all the other Marvel superheroes.
No, I agree.
But here's a question I got to ask you guys. Let's pretend that everybody says yes, or no, let's pretend everybody says no when their contracts are up. Who do you see filling the roles, or do you even see the roles being refilled? Well, obviously you're going to see them refilled because Marvel's not going to want to stop.
I honestly think they're going to go a different direction. I think you either make Bucky Cap, you make Falcon Cap, or you graduate up somebody.
Right,
War
but
Machine
what
takes over as Iron
What
Man.
about Steve Rogers? You never bring Steve Rogers back?
No, eventually, yeah,
Oh,
eventually.
okay.
But I'm talking
And then you can recast them. Yeah, like you could do 2 or 3 movies with Bucky Cap or Falcon Cap.
Okay,
and
now
you can
I thought
yeah.
you meant
you
just
can
forget about
recast it.
Steve. Okay.
No,
then it would be a big enough time gap where
Exactly.
you can bring a new
That's
actor in, have War Machine be Iron Man, and then big enough time gap for a new actor to step up and play that role.
But could you see anybody playing those roles is another question.
Well,
the only role I would say no to is Tony Stark.
So
Yeah,
Robert Downey Jr. all the way.
that's hard. He's like perfect. He was made for
Yeah.
that role.
Yeah.
I mean, his life mirrors Tony's life.
Yeah, it's hard to see somebody else in that role. Eventually, you got to understand too that once we get to that point, once time pass, if you do 3 movies, it's usually a movie every other year for those kind. Then you're talking almost a decade, and there's going to be new actors that have come up. The landscape is going to be completely different.
Oh yeah,
Right.
So it's really hard to say at this current time. It would be very hard for me to imagine anybody else as Iron Man or Cap.
Oh, absolutely. 100% agree.
I'm sure there are like others, but for right now, I can't picture anyone on the playing field right now that I can think of off the top of my head, unless they get like a newcomer to play the role of Tony Stark. Just because Robert Downey Jr. It's the same thing with me and Professor X, though. Patrick Stewart embodies Professor X for me. Robert Downey Jr. embodies Tony Stark for me. Just his demeanor, I don't even think he acts when he plays Tony.
He does just himself.
He just comes in and is like, "Look, this is me, dude. Let's just go. I know." I don't need any direction. Just let me do my thing.
Yeah,
I think he just knows it.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Both of them are the same personality. I've seen him in and out of set. Tony Stark and Robert Downey Jr. are the same person. Except
That's why the role is made for him.
Oh, definitely.
Steve Rogers, I could see it being a little bit easier to cast because all you need is that all-American square jaw kind of, buff
blonde hair, blue eyes.
blonde hair. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And look how easy it was. I'm sure it wasn't easy for him, but Chris Evans to bulk up. He bulked up.
And everybody was making fun of it in the beginning, if you remember. The Human Torch is going to be Captain America.
He was. I think we talked. I got into with Kat about this because she didn't, or it was maybe Andy from the DT podcast. Someone was saying about how it's hard for a guy to bulk up or something like that. I was like, look at Chris Evans. He did it. Mm-hmm. He did it very quickly. Even Chris Hemsworth did it too.
Yes, he did.
He bulked up a lot for Thor. So it is.
So did
possible.
Aquaman. I forgot his name, but Momoa. His last name is Momoa.
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa. He was super thin at one point.
But what's his name? Butler from the 300 movies. I can't remember his first name. He buffed up for those. Yeah, that's it. He buffed up, and I remember he did an interview saying, "Once I'm done with this movie, I'm never doing this again because this is hard keeping this shape."
Yeah, that's and look at Hugh Jackman. Dude, I don't know how he did it because his body went from he changed his body so much for each role because there was one role where he had to gain 50 pounds or something to get fat. There was a role where he had to get really skinny because he was in Les Miserables. So he had his weight. I don't know how he survived.
He's Australian.
I mean, his body fluctuation from role to role. He played a fat guy. He played a skinny, poor peasant guy. He played a jacked up Wolverine. So that guy's body's been in I'm sure he's very much enjoying not having to do anything right now. He's I can eat anything I want. I can just casual workout. I don't have to starve myself or bulk up super big. I'm sure he's very relaxed with that right now.
Yeah, definitely.
I could see him back in the body he had for X-Men 1 if Marvel asked him to come back to be Wolverine, a younger Wolverine again.
Yeah, but can he play a younger Wolverine at this point?
Yeah,
I
he
guess
won't,
it doesn't.
he won't look young.
No, he won't.
I think he can still play Wolverine because he still doesn't look old, but it's just like
He
I
won't
still
look
think he's
like
gonna
X-Men 1. He'll never look like X-Men 1 again.
Well, I mean, that was, what, 17, 16 years ago?
About
Yeah.
20 almost.
No, it was about 17, 18 years
2001.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I'm thinking between 1999 and 2000. It was somewhere in there that
Right,
frame.
so that was a long time ago.
Yeah, so it was
Yeah.
like 17, 18 years ago.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he was like early 30s at that point. He's almost he's nearly 50 now.
Yeah, so his body's not going to snap the way he used to, and he's getting older. He doesn't want to have those physical demands on him. So if Marvel does it, hopefully they'll use him in some fashion for it. But if not, I can picture Marvel just going with a new guy, But with these, I think their main focus is going to be those other universes. They're not going to, the other corners. They're not really going to focus so much on, these actors are leaving. If these actors stay, it will be like, all right, you're no longer a main character, but can you sign up for 6 appearances in other movies? And it would be like, because Chris Evans already appeared in a couple. Like he appeared in Spider-Man: Homecoming, very little, but he was still in it.
Yeah. I mean, if they want the franchises to survive, you have to think about that with film franchises. If they're going to survive past 3 or 4 movies, you've got to be thinking ahead as to how can we expand this, how can we change this, because these actors aren't going to stay on these for that long, or they're going to get too old for the part, or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure they've thought about this.
But I think Marvel has been showing us, though, that they have a bigger universe to explore. Because, if it was just the Captain America and Thor and Iron Man movies that were doing good, I would say, okay, yeah, they have to think about this stuff more. But with the fact that Guardians of the Galaxy did well, and Doctor Strange did well, Ant-Man did well. So all these other movies are doing well for them also. So I think that they're okay enough, they're confident enough that they can explore more movies. I think with this deal, if this deal goes through, which according to CNBC is already officially done, they get the X-Men universe, they get the Deadpool universe characters, they get to do Fantastic Four, they could do a Spider-Man and Deadpool movie, they could do so much now. They got the Spider-Man franchise that just started, they got 3 movies with Spider-Man that they can do, so
they could do any mutant themed character.
And let's not forget, Tom Holland's still very young, so you have a Spider-Man that you can keep around. We're talking till about Spider-Man 7 or 8 because he could be an adult. He'll be the adult Spider-Man then.
Yeah, that is true.
And even then, you could make him like if you do Mayday, for example, you can keep him around even longer.
Well, I think they will go more because that would be like another 20 years you're talking about. I would say before that you would see a Miles before you see Mayday.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you'll see Miles definitely way before that. You already saw a tidbit of him in Homecoming.
Yeah, I think they will go with that. They will go Miles. And that would probably be an Ultimate Spider-Man movie. They'll probably name that Ultimate Spider-Man or something if
Miles officially got the Ultimate Spider-Man title at this point. I mean, there was a Peter Parker Ultimate Spider-Man, but that ship has sailed a long time ago.
Yeah, I think he continued that legacy, and he owns that title now. But I can see different things with it. I can see different things coming up with it. So I don't think they're really concerned about recasting or worrying about contracts because I think at this point all the actors are really okay with more work from them because this is consistent money for them. This isn't like they're not having money. There'll be negotiations. There'll be again, Robert Downey Jr. was only supposed to be on for the 3 movies and Avengers, and he stuck around for other guest appearances in Avengers 3 and Avengers 4. So he upped his contract a few more times, and part of his one contract was that he got more more leeway in other factors of stuff like proposing scripts and stuff like that. So he can do that too. Like, let me. I think one of it was his Sherlock Holmes movie he got to do because of the deal. You know, he got to do Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, I loved the first one. I never saw the second.
So, like, he's going to want these things where he can do more movies. He can maybe direct something or write something. He's going to sweeten the deal with that. Chris Evans just wants to be Captain America, I think.
Yeah, I think so, too, at this point.
And, I mean, the only one I could see really not being okay with staying that much longer is Scarlett Johansson, just because she hasn't done that much. Like, literally, in the decade that she's been in the franchise, Black Widow has not done anything but really just gone with every Avenger male. Like, that's all she's really done. She's went from being a pseudo love interest for Tony Stark to a pseudo love interest for Steve Rogers to a pseudo love interest for Hawkeye, only to find out that he's been married. All that time that you thought they were like flirting with each other, and then she's like a thing with Hawk now. So it's like all these things are factoring into it, and she's just not a factor. And then they go for their first female movie, and they don't go Black Widow. They go Captain Marvel.
Yeah, so I think Scarlett has the most.
She would be the first one that would be like, you know what? There's another Black Widow that you can use, so I'm just gonna like step out of this. Exactly. Like, unless they really sweeten the deal for her, or she just really enjoys being Black Widow.
What about Hawkeye? I mean, he doesn't get that much time either.
I could see him too. Yeah,
I could see him leaving because I could see him arguing. You made an Ant-Man movie, but you couldn't do a Hawkeye.
I mean, I could see him going either way because he didn't get disrespected. I think Black Widow has gotten disrespected by Marvel. Yeah. You know,
that's true.
Especially with their first. She's been in this franchise for 10 years, and the first female film is not her. Like, I think that shows major like disrespect on her. That. Why wouldn't you do your first female film being your first female character in your cinematic universe? Why go to another character? And I think that would be a factor for it. Just her disrespect. But again, they say, okay, we'll be doing a Black Widow movie. I can see her say, okay, I'm all over that. I'm doing this. I'm staying for you. I'll do another couple movies if I get a solo movie. You know, maybe that would be part of her negotiation.
Yeah, a little negotiation to get her own little
I'll sign it. I want a Black Widow movie in phase 5, or whatever, phase that they would be in when they're renegotiating those contracts. She could say, I want a solo film, and I want it to be, female directed, and she could make some demands. She'll have the clout, then she'll have the bargaining power in her hand that they need her desperately enough.
Yep, I agree. Any other thoughts on where the franchise goes? Or I think we did a pretty good job of covering it.
I think so. I think we covered everything and back again.
Yeah.
Now, if only the comics could be as good as the movies. I mean,
they're trying.
I think they're going to make a shift in the next 2 years.
I think so.
That's my prediction for Marvel. I think Marvel's going to have a shift in the next 2 years. You're going to see some changes coming, especially now that they got this. They got these characters back. Mm-hmm. You're going to see some familiar faces popping up, and I think Marvel's going to have a little shift in their situation. So,
about time the Fantastic Four came back.
Yeah. Well, they've already kind of planted the seeds for that anyway, I think.
They did, yes.
Well, I think that's because they started talking. I think they've already been talking about this Fox thing for a while on some level. Maybe a Sony deal with Fox, where they can make movies and Fox would get most of the money and all that. So I think that's why they put that in Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? All I can say is I want a Darkhawk series now. After reading that one shot,
I know that was such a ripoff.
So good.
I just finished it. I'm like, really? You're ending it like that? And then at the end, the last page is like, nope, nothing left, nothing zilch.
Right? Yeah, they did it with all the one shots. All the one shots that they brought back, they did it. They did with that. But
I didn't care about the others. I cared about this one.
Exactly. So write in like it tells you to.
Yeah, into Marvel. that little
Comic
email
Frontline
address?
Zone 4. We want Dark Horse or Re-Riot.
No, don't write to us. Write to the Marvel.
We're saying it right now. We're verbally
Oh, okay.
saying Dark Horse was good. That's Zone 4. I mentioned it on Frontline Live, so there you go.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought you were telling them to write into us and tell
Why would
that they want more.
do? I'm not going to do anything. I'm not writing Dark Horse.
Yeah,
You don't want it that bad.
I don't want it.
Yeah,
What, you would write Dark Horse?
Yes.
Okay, then
not knowing
everybody
that-
write into Brant and
Brant?
and then Marvel. And
No,
let
you
Brant
don't write
it.
into me.
no. Write into Marvel.
Yes, and then write into Brant to send them a script so that Brant could be the writer for Marvel's Dark Horse.
I don't care about writing it. I just want it to exist.
Yeah, he just wants it anyway. He was just saying that if they offer it to him, yeah, he would do it. But
I know.
yeah,
I
we
know.
he just wants the book. He just wants the book that bad. He just wants it out.
I would
anyway
like better
in the
art.
memes.
I would say I would like a little better art, though. The art could have been a little better. It was okay. I mean, if you leave the artist there, that's fine. But I wouldn't mind a little, maybe Mark Bagley.
I liked it.
Yeah.
What you can do, people out there, if you want more Darkhawk or Master of Kung Fu or not Brand X
No.
or Power Pack or Silver Sable, no, Darkhawk.
Dark
You-
Hawk.
you
I've
write
read every
to-
single one shot. Dark Hawk.
You write to mheroes@marvel.com and mark your letter okay to print.
Yes, I was just going to do that because I just brought up the page.
Nice.
I mean, Power
I was
Pack
like,
was
when I
good
Christmas
too.
logo.
Power Pack
then-
was good too, but I mean, Dark Hawk's seal it was number
Yeah.
one for me.
I think Dark Hawk was the best out of them. I think.
Yes.
Because it was like setting up for something where everything else was like a one and go story. I think Dark Hawk was the only one that set up a really story, like a real story. Because I want to know what happens after that last page. You know,
Exactly.
that's the one where I'm like, okay, what's happening on the next page? Like that's the one I wanted because it's set up like as if it was a part one of a 6-part story arc or something. So that's the one I wanted to see the most out of these.
Yeah, I
Right.
completely agree. So after you write mheroes@marvel.com and save
All
Dark
one
Hawk,
word.
all one word, and save that, then you head over to patreon.com/Zone4 Podcast to thank us for helping you bring Dark Hawk back. That's how you do that.
And Brant says I'm bad with making up fake tears. That was the
No,
worst.
see, that wasn't a fake
No, he
tear.
didn't make up a tier. He just said, support
Yeah, you
us.
put
for
in a
helping us.
shoddy. You put in a shoddy promo. I could have done that.
That was a promo, but at least he's not promising anything.
That's right.
He's not writing any
But
checks that he can't
My
cash.
promise is 90% of them could happen.
In your own
okay.
mind.
I didn't say it
wait.
had to really happen.
Wait,
They
let me
could
refresh your
happen.
memory, Chris. Let me refresh your memory.
Uh-huh.
There's a giant size
Uh-huh.
Sock'em Rock'em robots
Uh-huh.
fight
Yes.
between Grant and Gordon.
Uh-huh. It could happen. It could
Where you're
happen.
gonna
It
sell it?
exists.
It's going to make this happen?
I was just saying, like
It's happened.
you said. I was just saying, this is something that you said was going to happen. A giant size
It
Rock'em
exists.
Sock'em battle.
It's somewhere in the world. You saw the picture.
I know. I'm just
Are
saying.
you going to pay for our plane tickets to get
Oh,
there?
absolutely
exactly.
not. The
There's
papers
a lot
are
of
going to do that.
logistics. Yeah, but you only said
Papers will do
that was for $1,000.
Yes,
It's going to
that's
cost
one
more than
ticket.
that for the.
You need multiple people to put that 1,000.
But that's not how Patreon works.
I
Patreon
don't
works
care how
when you get to
Patreon works. I'm
$1,000.
telling you how it's gonna work. I never said there was logic to what I was promising. I just said that there needs to be money.
Anybody that believes there's any logic to anything you say.
Then they need to go to a psychiatrist.
Oh, man. Well, this is a way to end the last show of the year.
That's
Right
right.
here.
When
Don't
Chris has
forget
a
to go
knockout,
over for $1 on Zone 4 to hear all this
Don't
awesome
see,
intelligentness. For only $1 a month, you can get this
No.
a whole shut up, a whole
He's inventing-
shut up, a whole 7 days early. That's 7
He's
whole
inventing-
days. Shut the hell up! I'm trying to do this. You're ruining it. I couldn't think of here.
what are you two even saying at this point?
7 days. and you get a bacon patch. A bacon patch. Who doesn't like bacon? Other than vegans and vegetarians and pig lovers.
Oh, don't even get me started on vegans right now.
Don't even get got Jay started on vegans. Just love the bacon patch. You could have a piglet and enjoy bacon at the same time, Alexa Bliss. You could have a piglet and enjoy bacon.
What?
Total Divas commercial.
What's his name? What's his name from Hey Arnold? He likes bacon. He's the pig. The pig from Hey Arnold.
There you go. No, Brant, really quick. Alexa Bliss and not Sasha Banks, Nia Jax went to a burger place and she had her little piglet and she put bacon on the burger and you just see her going, "Really, Nia?" And she's like, "What? Bacon?" And you see her holding the piglet. It's like, really, dude? That was the commercial. I'm like, really? I'm glad I missed that one.
That's a little funny, actually.
Her piglet is so cute. She shares it on Instagram. I was telling Cindy one day, if we ever find a place that sells them, I'm going to get piglet. We're going to name it Michael.
Do you really need more? Do you really need more things in your life?
I'm glad you said it.
Oh, she walked in and heard about the piglet and ran.
I mean, you have a hard enough time getting on the show with just a baby. Can you imagine a little pig running around going all around the house?
Hey, Tommy needs a companion.
But Jay, you're not looking at the bright side of this.
What?
When the piglet gets bigger, that's our bacon supply for 24.
You are not laying one hand on my piglet. Smiles. Smileys. Jay, Smileys.
He's just coming after Zone 4.
Smiley. Oh, man. Every 2 seconds when he said smiley, I was just thinking of something tragic to do to somebody in the book he smileyed about.
Smiley.
And then back cow ends up being made into steak.
All right.
But would it have?
Cow? Why was there even a purpose for back cow?
Will the steak fillets be in the shape of bats?
I mean, we could if it's bat cow that we're cooking.
And where did we get this topic?
I have no idea.
All I know is there should not be a bat cow. I mean, Titus was enough.
Welcome to the mind of Chris.
I'm just stating the fact that why does Damien need a cow?
It's like
what does he need it for?
Your brain is like the Twilight Zone.
No. They've asked me for contracts on certain thoughts. I said no.
I mean,
that's because not even they could wrap their head around what you really do.
Tales of the Crypt couldn't wrap their mind around some of the crap that comes out of my brain.
I tell you, Grant Morrison in his highest state couldn't wrap his head around what.
Yeah, Grant Morrison is even
I
like,
don't need drugs. Could you imagine?
Grant Morrison is even like, what are you smoking?
That's why Grant Morrison stays on the other side of the pond. Dude. That's why Grant Morrison stays on the other side of the pond now, like I told him 2 years ago.
He's just like, you're too trippy for me.
Hey, I take that as a compliment.
Okay. On that note, that's our show. So,
oh really?
No,
actually, we have to end so soon?
No. So we are gonna do what we normally do and go around the table and see what everybody has coming out, and going on. And I'm gonna give Chris a break from talking for a second and go to Jay.
You.
Okay. So for me, if you're a Patreon, this coming Sunday, the 9th, I want to say, or the 10th. It's Sunday. Sunday's the 10th. I will have a Q&J where I'll be talking about things that are not in Chris's brain. So you can come and ask me anything that's not in Chris's brain, and I will talk about it.
Somebody's going to ask you about what's in my brain now just because you said that, opposite. You tell people not to. It will.
And if you're not a Patreon, you can go back and watch it on Comic Frontline.
And then you can tell him that you can tell that he's already answered the question about what's in my brain.
Yes. I would just say it's a very scary place, but that would be my answer for any of those questions. And that's it. That's really about it. The rest of the stuff is just Frontline Live Tuesday nights. We'll have some less crazy discussion hopefully this week, and Media Manage would be, I think the next one is Star Wars, so that would be in a couple weeks.
Cool. All right, Chris.
All right.
Your intelligentness and your intellectualness.
Well, my intellectualness is on break until the beginning of next year, so this for now.
Is that just until next year?
We don't talk about what happens at the end of the year.
I'm holding you to that.
Mm-hmm.
You could hold me to that, but that doesn't mean I'm going to deliver. Who are you? Who are you? I don't have to deliver nothing to you. I don't owe nobody nothing.
You owe me what you're doing. What's coming up and going on.
I'm trying to tell people, but y'all are just ruining it for me. So far.
I think he thinks he's that Power Ranger where he's just switching train tracks.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I like that. That's a good idea. We're going to use that. Tokyo change. There you go. No, for the rest of the year, I'm working on a few ideas. Right now, I'm working on Twitch every now and again. I have a schedule up on Twitch if you guys would like to check it out. Dark Avenger podcast I'm working on for an end of the year and then a beginning of the year. And I'm just experimenting around on things right now, seeing what sticks and where stuff doesn't stick as often. And just really working on Celestial Falcon issue 2, which I'm sure Brant will expand on a little bit. And
Nah.
that's about it. Nah, sure. See, look at that. My co-writer doesn't even want to. Fine, that's all right. See? I know it's not. I'm just playing. But no, that's about it. I'm just playing it cool for the end of the year, holiday season, family and stuff. So I'm figuring out 2018, honestly, at this point.
Cool.
Just real fast, want to wish everyone a happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas,
Yeah.
and a Happy New Year.
Yes, sir.
And Zone 4 echoes all that. And so do I.
And so do I.
Right. So, excuse me. For me, let's see. As we're recording this, which, for patrons, you'll know this, but I will be at a convention this weekend. And if you're hearing this later, then I went to a convention last weekend in Louisiana.
And you missed it.
Yeah, you missed it. So, but it's ShreveCon in Louisiana, and that's the last convention of the year for us. Obviously, it's December, so and we've got some cool plans coming up next year for some conventions that we'll be talking about very soon. But beyond that, just Last Ember Press stuff. Still trying to get everything together for like the surveys and everything for the Kickstarter. For anybody that doesn't know, anyway, the Last Ember #1 Kickstarter was successful, and we are working on that diligently now. So thank you to anybody listening that helped us get that to fund. So just Last Ember Press, Around the Fire, or our mailing list that goes out each and every week. You can sign up for that and get a free book. And you can check out the Last Ember Press Patreon as well, patreon.com/LastEmberPress. And we're always, working on new stuff. We got a webcomic that we're hoping to launch in January called The Wild that Lisa's writing, and she's been working on it very hard. If you are a patron, you've seen some of the pages and stuff like that. So, thank you.
It's gorgeous. I can't wait to see it start.
It is. It really is. I can't wait to see it either.
See, now you want to be a Last Ember Press patron as well.
Exactly. And just to go on what Chris is saying, in addition to working on all that, of course we are still working on Celestial Falcon as time allows. Obviously this holiday season is very busy for everybody.
Look, I think Brant will agree the patience will be well worth the wait. It'll be worth the wait in the end for issue 2. Especially.
Yeah, absolutely. So just stay tuned in the new year for more news and updates about that and everything else out Last Ember Press. And I guess that's it for me. So in Zone 4 land, the news that we've kind of teased in the beginning of the show is we are just doing a slight format change in the upcoming episodes in the new year. Gordon will find out about this eventually.
Wow, okay.
Hopefully before he hears it.
Hopefully. But we're just making Zone 4 kind of going backward a little bit. We're going to make it more of a topical show. I think we did a little bit of that in this episode, where the topic time takes the main focus. We're going to scale down the news stories a little bit and just kind of get some good conversation in there, some good discussion. So hopefully you guys dig that, and that's what you got to look forward to in 2018.
Hey, we get to go off the rails more because you want to make the show long, so woohoo!
I didn't say anything about making it longer.
Oh, no. You just said it was going to be topical, so I mean, we got to make sure we hold that time frame.
Okay.
Lord help us.
God help me.
Yeah, God help you. You did this. I'm just following.
I need a serenity prayer right now.
Yeah. Serenity now. Serenity now.
You know, I was asked to be here. I was
Man, you sounded drunk right then.
You just sound drunk more and more.
I was asked to be here.
You tell me what to say.
Nobody forced me to sit down and do this stuff every month, but I'm only drinking Mountain Dew at the moment, so I'm sorry I'm not drunk at all.
Don't you try to eat my bacon.
Mountain Dew!
That's it for the show. So we would like to thank the official bands of Zone 4, the Raywall Band and Society's Plague, that you hear on the show each and every episode. We are also proud members of the Comics Podcast Network. You can find us on comicspodcast.com, Comic Frontline, Stitcher, iTunes, and of course, zone4podcast.com, and probably a whole bunch of other services. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions for us, or you'd like some bacon recipes for when Chris's piglet grows up, send those to Zone 4. Send those to zone4podcast@gmail.com. And as always, thanks for listening. Happy holidays. You are now leaving Zone 4.
This is only a test for the X-Men.
He's going to name his piglet Bacon.
Yeah, stick a fork in it, that pig's done.
You ain't touching my piglet. You stay the hell away from my piglet.
He's going to be called Bacon.
He's going to be called Bite You if you come near him. That's what he's going to be called.
This has been a Gonzo Goose production. Honk!